In this edition of Entertainment Zone, it's the beginning of the end for Harry Potter. Hi everyone, I'm Ben Almeida and welcome to Entertainment Zone. In this edition I will be reviewing the latest Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Please note this review will contain spoilers, but not until a bit later on, so I'll point them out to you. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'll let you know when they're coming up. Okay, so Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is of course the first of two parts of the movie adaptation of the final Harry Potter book. And I went to see this at the weekend, but only now I've got time to review it. And I have to say, I was very, very impressed. This is by far the most faithful of the book adaptations. I loved the Half-Blood Prince movie, but obviously a lot was cut out. But you know, I wasn't fussed on Order of the Phoenix, and trust me, Deathly Hallows is a lot higher up than Order of the Phoenix was. So it was a really good return to form for the series, and is one of the strongest of the series. The acting was superb. Emma Watson shone as Hermione in this film, by far probably the strongest actress in this film. And I've got to mention Helena Bonham Carter too, just amazing, as was Ralph Fiennes and Rupert Grint, and even Daniel Radcliffe has got better now. He is still the weakest of the trio, but you know, he actually did a pretty good job in this film. As I said, the film was very faithful to the book, with barely anything being cut, which is probably why the movie was split in two, either that or financial reasons, but let's not get into that right now. Yeah, I was very impressed. Cinematography-wise, the film was quite dark, but you know, this book is dark. You know, we're out in the woods, you're away from Hogwarts now, you know. The characters are facing real life-threatening danger now. So, and you know, there's a lot of death in the movie, and so I think the darker tone and cinematography was much needed. However, there were points when it felt a little bit twilighty in its cinematography. Less said about that, the better, and that's a discussion for another time, I'm sure. The pacing of the movie was probably my only problem. It was very slow paced. I mean, I don't mind long movies at all, but you know, for me, films like Avatar and Transformers 2, they're really long, but they flew. But this felt like 2 hours, but that's probably because it's very faithful and barely anything's been cut. So I can't really moan about the pacing, because I'd rather a slow movie that details everything rather than a rushed movie like Order of the Phoenix that cut a lot out, you know. So I can't complain too much about this. Advice to parents thinking of taking the kids, maybe not take them if they're about, I don't know, under the age of 11 or 12. This one is dark. It is dark, and although it didn't really scare me, you know, obviously, you know, I'm a 19-year-old. For the younger ones, the kids, there were a lot of scary moments. All I'll say is, you know, Bathilda Bagshot, very scary, and you know, some of the Voldemort scenes too. But on the whole, I was very impressed by the movie. Very faithful, very strong performances. Main criticisms is not enough Alan Rickman in this film, but as of course we'll be seeing him in in part two. So yeah, a very very good film, slowly paced, however very faithful. My one criticism of it is it felt like a part one movie. Um, it was still a good movie, but I'm not quite sure whether or not it works as a standalone. I would have been very happy to sit through a 4 hour movie, done it all in one. But obviously, they've split it up and they're making it as faithful as possible and splitting it up so it's not too time consuming. But I would have happily sat through all of it. It just did get to an end and you're just like, oh, it's going to end. Okay, it's ended. Oh, bring on part two. And so that means waiting until July next year. The film wasn't in 3D, as you probably will know. They decided to cut the 3D. However, I believe they're still going ahead with it on part two. Is it necessary? I don't think it is. But there's a lot of cool stuff in the films that could look pretty damn good in 3D. So it'll be interesting to see if they use 3D. However, that's an issue for part two next year. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the spoilers now and wrap up with that. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, then please stop watching now. Okay, so everyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, hasn't seen the film or read the books, should be gone by now. Yes, the acting was phenomenal, especially from Emma Watson. She nailed every scene. She was just incredible. She's grown into an amazing actress, and I hope she has a big career ahead of her. And you know what? I mentioned Helena Bonham Carter too. She's just perfect for Bellatrix Lestrange, and the two of them together, Emma and Helena as Bellatrix and Hermione, were fabulous at the end. They were really, really good together. The torture scene was it was tense. It was really intense, the torture scene, and very believable and very well acted. And those two were phenomenal. And Ralph Fiennes is as scary as Voldemort as ever. Well, obviously, well, not scary, but as evil and dark and brooding as ever. And like the scenes in the beginning, with Professor Babbage floating over the table, and he lets Nagini eat her, after killing her. Oh, it's phenomenal. As I said, not enough Alan Rickman, but obviously we'll be seeing in part two. The same goes to Hagrid as well. Not much Hagrid, not enough Hagrid, but hopefully we'll see more in part two. Dursley's role was minimal, but I'm not too fussed about that. It was great seeing everyone back, Moody, Umbridge, everyone returning for this. It was really cool. They dealt with RAB efficiently. Obviously they didn't go into as much details as the books, but it was done efficiently. The Horcrux scene was amazing with the Horcrux part of Voldemort's soul coming out and saying to Ron that he's pathetic, and manifesting itself into naked Harry and Hermione who were embracing each other to make Ron jealous. That was incredible. That was really, really clever, visually amazing, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was really good, and props to Rupert Grint too. He was just as great as ever, both in his serious moments and his comedic. So that's a point to mention. He was pretty cool. The death of Hedwig the owl was very, very quick, but they changed it slightly, but in my mind for the better. Hedwig was flying, trying to help Harry rather than just stuck in a cage and shot dead by magic. So it was dealt with quickly, but it felt a bit empty. Harry wasn't that upset about Hedwig, so they could have built it up more. We find out Moody dies. Again, that wasn't dealt with, but obviously they have to keep the story going. It was his death was very minimal. But his eye being on Umbridge's door and all that was still there, so that was cool. And the ending, we see Voldemort going to Dumbledore's tomb. Still looks really good. To say he's been dead for a couple of months. He goes to get the Elder Wand out of the tomb. That scene was amazing. And shooting the spell up into the sky was incredible, visually amazing, and a great cliffhanger. Building up for part 2 is amazing. And there was also an animation scene for the Tales of the Deathly Hallows. It was like silhouette-y, but in a 3D kind of way. It's a three-dimensional cartoon, and it was phenomenal. Really, really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great seeing Bill Nighy in the cast as Rufus Scrimgeour. Really, really good casting. I would have liked to seen a bit more of him, but hey, it was done brilliantly. And I like the character of Xenophilius Lovegood too. The actor who plays him, his name escapes me right now, but he was really good. Yeah, a really, really strong film, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie, if you've seen it. Did you like that it was split up into 2 parts? Did you like how faithful it was? Was the pacing an issue for you? Who was your favourite actor or actress in it? And what was your favourite moments? Oh, and by the way, Dobby's death scene. Oh, so sad. It's great seeing Dobby back, and his death scene was so moving, so sad. And the whole Malfoy Mansion ending, just brilliant, brilliant. So yes, let me know what you think about that in the comments too. And if I hear anything new about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, I'll let you know. And I will be reviewing that when that comes out. And remember to make sure you never miss a video. Be sure to subscribe. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about the movie. So again, let me know in the comments. And until next time, it's bye-bye from me.